Hey guys, so just got back from the theater from seeing two movies today, and I'll be doing two reviews, obviously, one of each movie, and I want to try to nail these out as quickly as possible because I gotta work tomorrow at 4 a.m. and I gotta be up at 3 a.m. So I want to get these done as quickly as possible. So before I get into my review of that movie or my first one, I do want to mention one movie that I did get to watch yesterday, and that was Sharknado. Um, Anybody who doesn't know what Sharknado is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a movie that's being billed as a film that features a tornadoes full of sharks. And honestly, this was a movie, and this just aired on Sci-Fi a couple days ago, and it's on demand if you want to check it out. But it was a movie I was really interested in just to see how laughably bad this movie could be. I mean, I knew going in what I was expecting. I knew what going in what to expect, honestly, and with a title like that, and yeah, it's laughably bad. It is very laughably bad, but also there are some really dumb moments in this movie, and honestly, I could pick apart uh, some really. I mean, I could pick apart the acting, the bad CGI, and all stuff. But I don't think that's fair because I mean that's being redundant. Um, because I mean that's what you expect in a movie like this. What I will pick apart though is the fact that in a movie that's called Sharknado, there are barely tornadoes full of sharks in it. Only in the last 20 minutes do you actually see tornadoes full of sharks. You know what? This movie should have been called Her Shark. It's basically hurricanes full of sharks throughout most of the movie. Pretty much an hour of the movie. That's all it is. Not tornadoes full of sharks. And you know what? That pisses me off. I want to see more tornadoes full of sharks. And even when we get them, they are very underwhelming, on to say the least. I expected more from this damn movie. Expected more from, damn it. I wanted more of that crappy CGI tornadoes full of sharks. God damn it. And you know what? That makes me mad. I almost can't recommend it because you know what? This movie doesn't deliver on its promise almost. But anyway, but if you want to see a really horrible movie, a really laughably bad movie, I would probably say go check it out if you want to have a good laugh at it. But at the same time, don't expect there to be a lot of tornadoes full of sharks. You'll be disappointed like I was. Um, Anyways, let's get into something better than Sharknado, and that is The Conjuring. I have. I am a huge fan of James Wan, the director of Saw, the guy who made this movie. I wasn't a fan of his previous film Insidious. I freaking thought that was a laughably bad movie, but I've been a fan of him even after Insidious. I still think he's a good horror director. So when I heard the movie Conjuring was coming out, I was like, okay, another movie done by him. And I wasn't impressed by the first trailer. So first trailer was the one where it featured a mom playing hide and seek with her kids, and the ghost in the house was messing with her by clapping along with her because she was clapping to try to find her kids, and they use a clapping system to try to find her kids, and the ghost was messing with her, and I thought that looked really dumb from that trailer. It looked really funny, and that was not what the intended reaction was supposed to be. I mean, I was supposed to be scared by that, but I did not find clapping scary. And as other trailers came along, though, I actually started going, okay, this actually looks like it could be a really good movie. And early word of mouth has been very good. Very, very good. If a lot of people calling it the best horror movie of the year and one of the best horror movies in a few years. And so, say I've been pretty hyped about this movie would be an understatement. And well, yeah, critics are right. This is a really good movie. This movie is freaking creepy. It's not only the best horror movie I've seen all year, but this is one of the best movies I've seen all year. Period. Um, this movie was really creepy. I'm not a person that believes in ghosts, but I was pretty creeped out by this movie by the end of it. There were some really intense moments in this movie, really unnerving moments in it, and they were very effective. And um, I really, really enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed the acting in this movie. I liked the cast in this movie. I thought everybody did really good in this. Vera Farmiga, who I really love to death. I'm a fan of her work. I liked her in Bates Motel, the new TV show Bates Motel. I think she's really, really entertaining in that show. Patrick Wilson's great. The kids are good. Lily Tomlin's very good as the mom. Really, really good. I forget who plays his dad, but he's very good too. Everybody's really good in that, and that is really good. That's really effective because you know what? When the acting is good, it makes the character and it makes these characters. These are characters that actually give a shit about, and that's always a good thing because you want to give a shit about the characters when bad things are happening to them. Because a lot of times in horror movies, what happens is there are terrible characters in a horror movie, and you want them to die. Not in this movie. I wanted to see them survive. So I was kind of happy to see the outcome of this movie. I was cheering for them. I was rooting for them. I wanted to see something, them come through this. Even though from the trailers, it did spoil the movie a little bit for you in the trailers because they did actually have interviews with the actual people, and that was kind of a complaint of mine. They actually spoiled the movie for you a little bit, and the fact that these people are going to survive because you saw them in the actual trailer. And that kind of pissed me off, but so there's not really any suspense on whether they were going to live or not. But at the same time, I was still invested in this movie. I was still invested in the characters. I was invested in what was happening to them. And that is a rare thing in horror movies, it seems, nowadays. Usually in horror movies, I want to see these characters die. And that wasn't the case in this movie. And I think that's very good. I also one of the things I really liked about this movie was the fact that they actually freaking addressed one of the main problems I have with movies like this. And that is, why won't they get out of the fucking house? Why don't they just fucking leave out of the house? They actually addressed that. There's a moment in this movie they say, why don't you just leave? I was like, thank you. I was sitting there going, that's what I've been thinking the whole time. After a few moments, after a few occurrences, I would be like, okay, I'm out of here. And I'm like, but they actually addressed it. They addressed that they invested so much in this house, so they really can't leave. Where else are they going to go? Because their family is 7. And I could kind of understand that logic. Also, at the same time, maybe I would still leave, but fuck it. I could get it. I was like, fuck it. At least they explained it. At least they took time to explain that. I actually like that. I like the fact that parents in this movie aren't fucking stupid. They're not like the cliched parents that you see in movies, horror movies nowadays. And the fact that they are actually smart. They are smart as to what is going on. Because half this bad stuff that's happening in this movie are happening to them. So they're not trying to be in denial the whole movie. They actually acknowledge what's going on and don't act like the kids are crazy or the rest of their family's crazy. So that's good. That's a rare thing in horror movies nowadays. I'm not joking. Look at the Paranormal Activity movies, for God's sake. That's a good example. Later on, there's a couple of things I thought was really weird about this movie. I'm not going to try to spoil it, because like I said, I'm trying to get these reviews out of the way very quickly. I'm not going to try to spoil it too much, but I'm trying to acknowledge a few things I remember from this movie that I want to talk about. And one of the things I thought was really weird, and I thought, what the hell? There was a moment I thought, what the hell is wrong with these people? And that is the fact that the Warrens, the couple that's played by Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, they're obviously these well-respected paranormal investigators, and you find out throughout the movie that they live in a house with their daughter, and they try to live kind of a normal life, but at the same time, they have this room in their house dedicated, has objects aligned all in this room. They're basically possessed artifacts that they've recovered from their various cases. I don't know why you would have that. Why? I understand it. They do address that. But yeah, it's about as dangerous as having a gun out in the street. Yeah, I can understand that. But at the same time, why would you do that? And they said they have to literally have a priest come in and like bless the room every month. That's a little too much work. Just fucking get rid of it. That's not your problem. Get rid of it. And obviously, towards the middle of the movie, it becomes a part of. It becomes a character in the movie, because the daughter somehow gets in there and is haunted by a ghost. And oh yeah, that's one other thing I want to talk about. I don't know what it's James Wan's obsession with creepy dolls, but that freaking doll in this movie is very creepy. He has an obsession with creepy dolls, if you've noticed in his movies. Billy the puppet, and Saw the puppet, and Saw Dead Silence was marrying or puppet of a movie full of creepy puppets. And now this has a movie that has a really freaking creepy doll in it. And there's a creepy story behind it that you hear in the beginning that is really good. I really like that. I thought that was a really... and that's in their room full of demonic artifacts. I still don't understand why you would have that. I understand you don't want that falling into the other people's hands, but dude, I would not keep that in my room. If you're such a really, if you're a paranormal investigator and you believe in all that stuff, why would you keep that in your house? That's dangerous. If you believe in all that stuff, that's not something you want. If somebody who believes in that stuff would not keep that in their house. I don't understand. I don't understand that. I'm trying to think of the other thing. I'm almost forgetting now that what the hell else was going to talk about. The other thing, and this was something that I didn't annoy me until after I saw the movie. For anybody who doesn't know the story about the Warrens, I'll explain. After I saw the movie, I looked a little bit more into the Warrens, like the people that these movies are, the paranormal investigators that this movie's based about. And these are real people. I guess the guy is dead now, but the wife is still alive. But I found out that they were the first investigators into the Amityville horror case. And I guess I said, well, I guess that makes sense now why the trailers kept saying before the Amityville horror case, there was this case, the most horrifying case that they never talked about. I guess that makes sense now. I was wondering why they kept mentioning Amityville, even though this movie is like Amityville and very creepy and very just a really creepy haunted house movie. I thought that was the only reason they referenced that, but no, that was the reason why they referenced that was because this was a case that they did before Amityville. And at the end of the movie, there's a reference, a very sly reference to the Amityville, where they go back to their house and they put the one of the artifacts from the house that they just that was in the main movie in the house or the room full of demonic artifacts, and they briefly mentioned, they're like, oh, the priest called, they want us to come down to a house in Long Island. There's supposedly some really wicked events happening. If you don't know, Long Island is Amityville happened, or is where Amityville happened. And I was like, oh, really? You had to throw that reference in. And I didn't get that until after, I saw the movie. But then after while I was looking that information up about the Warrens, I was like, really, they had to throw that reference in? That's really stupid and cheesy. But at the same time, nobody would get that reference. So, I mean, it was obviously like a little nudge, 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 but not many people know who the Warrens are, so I think that reference is kind of stupid. But that's the only reason they put that reference in there. They only put that line in there. I'm still convinced. But, yeah, I really fucking recommend this movie. You really want to be creeped out, want to see a really good horror movie, go see this movie. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I had a good time. Was invested in this movie. One of the best movies of the year so far. Trailers, I do want to mention, I'll talk a lot more about trailers with the other movie, but trailers, I had a lot of new trailers with both movies I had. But at the same time, I can't remember a lot of the trailers for the Conjuring, but I can remember a lot of the trailers for the other movie. That's because I just saw the other movie. But I do remember I got Carrie, You're Next, which I've talked about, which I'm hoping is the other movie that's getting a lot of buzz, horror movie that's getting a lot of buzz. Getaway, which is basically Ethan Hawke in a movie that's basically Drive meets Taken, where Ethan Hawke's daughter's kidnapped by this mysterious guy, and he has to drive for this guy and do stuff for him in his car. And Selena Gomez, he basically kidnapped Selena Gomez. Whatever. But I was like, Ethan Hawke's in a lot of movies lately. Kind of weird that Ethan Hawke's been in a lot of movies lately. But I'm not saying that's a bad thing. The other one was Runner Runner, which is Justin Timberlake and Ben Affleck, where Justin Timberlake loses all his money in online gambling and ends up working for Ben Affleck, who runs the online gambling site that he loses all his money to, and then he starts working with, I think, the FBI to try to take down Ben Affleck, and he's like this ruthless person. It looked pretty good. That could be actually really good. But anyways, I'm going to get off here and go see Conjuring. I'll be back in a couple seconds with my review for the other movie I saw.